1981, the year rock refused to go quietly. In the next few minutes, we're ripping through 12 essentials, from leather jacket club chaos to arena cannons and sing till you lose your voice choruses. Think you've heard it all? Wait till we hit the top slot. Volume up. Let's kick off with 12 to 9, the Riff and Rebellion set. I was the kid posted at the edge of the school dance, back pressed to the folded bleachers because I didn't know what to do with my hands. The DJ's lights made a cheap rainbow on the gym floor, and the speakers looked like they'd been borrowed from somebody's garage. Then the opening riff to Shake It Up hit. Tight, springy, a snap of guitar over a steady kick. And my feet started moving before my head could argue. The cars didn't feel like the old rock records my uncle loved. This felt new. A clean blade of guitar, synths that winked instead of screamed, and Rick Ocasek's cool voice asking us to stop thinking and shake it up. I remember clocking the difference right away. Punk's sneer was fading, disco's mirror ball was cracked, and these Boston guys had found a third road, dance rock, that didn't apologize for being fun. When the chorus lifted, the room obeyed. Couples who usually swayed from a safe distance now risked being seen. Even the varsity guys with crossed arms cracked a smile. I learned something simple that night. A good rock song doesn't need to be heavy to feel big. It needs to catch your body first, then your brain. Shake It Up did both. It was their first top 10 in November 1981, and we treated it like a permission slip. Proof that rock could turn on the neon and still keep its spine. Question for you. What song made you forget yourself and just move, even for one chorus? The first time I heard Urgent, I wasn't looking at a stage. I was looking at a freeway. Summer heat turned the highway into a slow river of chrome. The windows of my dad's sedan rolled all the way down because the AC was temperamental. As I look in your eyes, maybe you're thinking of so much. FM radio had that soft fuzz like the station was breathing. Then that staccato guitar figure arrived, tight as a snare. And Lou Gramm pushed out the word like he needed it. Urgent. The track felt like a chase scene. The bass didn't stroll. It stalked. And then the saxophone, Junior Walker, cut in like a flare. Not a solo so much as an alarm. It was the first time I understood that a horn could be dangerous in a rock song. We hit the on-ramp and the solo hit its peak. Sheets of sound, a human siren. And for a few seconds, the whole car moved like it had found an extra gear. Foreigner got tagged AOR, but in that moment it sounded more like city night music. Neon signs reflected in puddles, cab doors slamming, the metallic taste of staying out past your curfew. Urgent taught me about tension in arrangement. Guitar and keys playing short phrases, rhythm section leaving space, and that sax slicing through like a headline. When the last chorus faded, the freeway felt different, like a story might be waiting at the next exit. Be honest, which instrument solo, guitar, keys, or sax, has ever surprised you the most in a rock track? I found heard Gloria by accident on a Sunday afternoon. A friend handed me a worn cassette labeled October in blue pen and said, "They sound like they're climbing something." I pressed play. The bass walked in first, sure-footed. Then Edge's guitar didn't so much strum as ring, chords like open windows, and Bono started with a prayer. Latin in a rock song? I wasn't ready for that. Gloria in the Domine? I didn't know the theology. I knew the feeling. It sounded like hope set to a backbeat. Young, hungry, not afraid to look up.
Loosen my lips, loosen up.
In a year when rock was leaning hard into machines and polish, Gloria kept the wires exposed. You could hear the room, the fingers on strings, the rush of 4 people reaching for the same hilltop. The chorus didn't tell you to party. It told you to lift something heavy and sing while you did it. At a tiny club later that fall, I saw a local band try to cover it. The singer's voice cracked on the "Oh Lord" line, and the crowd cheered anyway. I remember thinking, vulnerability is a louder amplifier than any stack. Gloria wasn't the biggest 1981 hit, but it was a compass. It pointed to where a lot of bands would go. Earnest, widescreen, reaching. If you've ever shouted a lyric that you didn't fully understand but felt all the way through, you already know this song's language. What lyric have you sung that felt like a handhold on a climb? Some songs you hear in public. This one I met alone. Dark bedroom, glowing dial on the radio. Volume low because the house was quiet. A slow guitar arpeggio began to pour through the speaker, patient and clean, the kind of opening that makes you lean closer. Then the drums stepped in, heavy but careful, and Joe Elliott's voice arrived with a kind of pleading confidence. "Gypsy, sittin' lookin' pretty." This wasn't headbanger thunder, not yet. It was drama, a build. The early 80s British metal sound was learning melody like a new language, and "Bringin' on the Heartbreak" might be the first page of that dictionary. Verse, pre-chorus, then the lift. Bringin' on the heartbreak. And suddenly, the room felt bigger than it was. I could almost see the arena, even though I was only staring at the ceiling. Every tom hit sounded like a boot on a long staircase. The guitars didn't just chug, they braided. When the power ballad model took over the rest of the decade, people acted like it showed up fully formed. It didn't. It started right here, with a band still figuring out how to put muscle and melody in the same jacket. By the last chorus, I realized the trick. They'd moved me without speeding up. The urgency was emotional, not rhythmic. It's a lesson I've kept. Loud doesn't have to be fast to feel like a sprint. If you've ever stayed up too late because a song had you by the collar, you understand exactly how this one works. Question: what's your Alone at Night, volume too low, still electric song? I met Unchained in a dark club that felt like a test. Hot lights, low ceiling, and the smell of beer in the carpet. The band on stage wasn't Van Halen, but the sound system blasted Fair Warning while the roadies tuned up. Then it hit. That drop-tuned riff like a steel door slamming shut. The crowd shifted as one, like a wave found its wind. Eddie's guitar wasn't just distortion, it was a voice with attitude. Every pinch harmonic shot across the room like a spark. Alex cracked the snare with boxing glove weight. Michael Anthony's backing vocal climbed above the noise like a flare. And then Dave's swagger, half grin, half dare. Change! Nothing stays the same. In that moment, I understood what arena energy feels like, even when you're not in an arena. Unchained didn't beg. It commanded. It swung like funk and hit like metal. The breakdown, call and response, the famous, "Come on, Dave, gimme a break," made us laugh and yell at the same time. It was permission to misbehave, but with musical discipline underneath. The guitar tone, the brown sound, felt close enough to grab. And yet, there was mystery in it, like you were hearing a private trick the rest of the world hadn't learned. Walking out, I realized why bands chase this feeling for years. A riff that heavy can still dance. A singer that wild can still stick a melody. Unchained is the handshake and the punchline. If you've ever felt your shoes leave the floor when a chorus hits, you already know what this song does to a room.
Houston, you took the midnight train.
I heard it where it's supposed to be heard, on the road. The car was old enough to complain on hills, but the radio was loyal. Night highway, dotted lines stitching the dark together. Piano intro like a small town waking up. That clean, singing guitar answering back. Then Steve Perry, sounding both hopeful and homesick. By the time the rhythm section locked in, we were past the last gas station and into the stretch where stars replace streetlights.
A singer in a smoky room. Smell of wine.
What always gets me is the structure, how it builds for minutes, holding the chorus back like a secret, letting you live in the verses. Strangers, boulevards, shadows searching. When the drums open up, it feels like a window sliding all the way. You don't notice the lift until you're already higher than you meant to be. We hit a toll booth just as the hold on to that feelin' line finally arrived. The booth guy was humming it under his breath, no lie. That's the power of a song that belongs to everyone. It's not about a perfect life. It's about not giving up on the messy one you've got. For me, Don't Stop Believin' didn't erase the distance ahead. It made the distance feel like a story worth finishing. When we pulled into a rest stop, the final notes faded and strangers looked a little less like strangers. That's stadium music at its best. It makes a crowd out of people who haven't even met. I learned what a song can do to your chest the night I stood in a field that pretended to be a venue. Dirt under boots, cold air, a stage that looked like a ship. The lights went out and a single riff crawled across the dark. Slow, certain, like it had all night to convince you. Then Brian Johnson's voice came down like a thrown chain. Raw, proud, impossible to ignore. At the chorus, cannons boomed, actual cannons, and you felt it in bone and teeth. People talk about volume like it's a number. This was volume as geography. It changed the shape of the place we were standing. I had heard the record, late November '81 release and all that, but live, the lyric turned into a ceremony. Not a salute to stars on a poster, but to us, the ones who worked a shift and bought the ticket, the ones who lifted amps out of vans, the ones who weren't pretty but were loud. What I remember most is the silence after the last cannon. For a half second, nothing. Then thousands of voices like weather. I walked away with ringing ears and a weird calm. The song didn't make life easier. It made me braver about the hard parts. AC/DC taught me that simplicity isn't small. It's a hammer. And when a band swings it clean, the whole world keeps time. Catch the mystery, catch the drift. I was a skeptic before I heard it on a decent system. I thought complicated meant cold. Then, moving pictures landed on a friend's turntable, needle dropped, and the synth came in like a morning fog. A measured drum fill, Neil Peart, Clockmaker and Thunderhead, and then Geddy Lee's bass punched through with a tone that could cut rope. Here's the trick. Tom Sawyer is math that moves. The 7/8 riff doesn't wobble, it strides. Alex Lifeson's guitar shifts from glassy to growl without breaking the line. Geddy's vocal sails above it all. Sharp, bright, a lighthouse. The lyrics didn't feel like a riddle once I stopped trying to solve them and just let the images land. A modern rebel, nerves of steel, a world that wants to box him in. The mid-song synth break opens a door. The drum solo that follows kicks it off the hinges. It's technical, yes, but it's also physical. Your head nods whether you can count it or not. I saw them later that year, lights mapped to every snare accent, camera on Neil's hands turning time into choreography. People around me cried, quietly, like they were watching something precise and beautiful pass through them. Walking out, I realized I'd had it backward. Emotion isn't the opposite of precision. Sometimes precision is how emotion gets delivered without spilling. Tom Sawyer taught me to hear complexity as courage. I met this song in a room that didn't deserve it. Flickering fluorescent lights, chipped linoleum, a radio that spoke in static if you stood too close. I was shelving boxes at a part-time job after school, trying not to count the hours. Then the piano tumbled in, bright, insistent, like someone laughing as they sprinted up a staircase, and suddenly, the room had windows. Stewart's drums were all sharp elbows and forward motion, and Sting's bass kept grinning on the offbeat. There was reggae in the bones, springy, buoyant, but the melody wore a pop crown. Sting sang like a guy standing outside a house with flowers and a note he'll never deliver. I resolved to call her up 1,000 times a day. The line hit me because I knew that fear, the gap between what you feel and what you say. But the music never let the nerves win. Every chorus burst like confetti. Andy Summers colored outside the lines with chiming guitars, the kind that make air feel taller. I remember stacking a box in the wrong aisle because I forgot where I was. That's the magic the title promises. Not wizardry, just the way a song can change the room while the world stays the same. When the final "It's a Big Enough Umbrella" floated out, I realized the trick. The police made anxiety dance. They took doubt and taught it rhythm. By the time the manager yelled about the misshelved box, I was already smiling. The song made the small day feel like a big one, and that's a kind of spell I'm still vulnerable to. I found this one lit by neon and bravado. A dingy bar I wasn't quite old enough to belong in. Floor sticky, the smell of fries and beer battling at the door. Someone fed the jukebox, and the room turned its head as if an old friend had walked in wearing a leather jacket. The beat came first. Thick, unhurried. A strut more than a sprint.
Me, yeah, me. And I could tell it wouldn't be long that he was with me.
Then Joan. Her voice didn't ask for space. It took the square footage it needed and dared you to say something. What I remember most is the way the whole place changed posture. People who'd been talking with their eyes half closed turned alert. Shoulders rolled back. Heads started to nod in time. When she hit the "So come and take your time and dance with me," it felt like a dare and an invitation in the same breath. I watched a woman in a denim vest walk across the room and pull a shy guy toward the open floor. No permission slips, no apologies. Just a riff that made your backbone believe in itself. Joan didn't argue for why rock mattered. She demonstrated it. The power wasn't just in volume. It was in the way she owned the count-in, the way the chorus acted like a rallying cry everyone already knew.
The next we were moving on, he was with me, yeah, me.
You could draw a straight line from that bar to a million garage bands who decided they didn't need keys to the castle. Kick the door, plug in, sing the truth you can actually stand behind. Every time the song ends, the air keeps its charge for a few seconds, like it's not ready to let go. That lingering voltage is why the record never goes stale. Some songs teach you patience in 3.5 minutes. I heard this one while working a slow Saturday at a record shop where time moved like a stubborn mule. Sun pinned to the same angle. A couple browsing in circles. And then, Rickenbacker chime, steady drums, Petty's voice landing like a note passed under a door. The waiting is the hardest part. It felt like he'd been reading my mail. I wasn't waiting on a romance. I was waiting on a life to start. College acceptance letters, a real gig, a clearer sense of who the heck I was. But Tom didn't just sympathize, he coached. The verses held steady, jangling guitars, Benmont's organ like a warm porch light, and the chorus lifted without rushing. It's a worker's song, built for people who show up, clock in, and carry their hope like a pocket knife. Small, useful, always there. A woman came to the counter with a used copy of Damn the Torpedoes and asked if the shop had any more Petty. We didn't. We talked about first cars and bad jobs and the way a week can feel like a year. The song made strangers into allies for 3 minutes. That's the art. It turns personal ache into public language. When Tom leaned into the bridge, "Don't let it get to you," I believed him because he never sang like a preacher. He sang like a friend who'd done the same waiting and knew you could survive it. The first time the riff hit me, I was walking past a TV store where every set faced the sidewalk. A dozen screens, the same image, a stage as bright as day. Jagger built like a question mark that already knew the answer. Keith with that half smile like he'd just hot-wired a thunderstorm. And then, da-da, da-da, those two opening chords that feel inevitable, like gravity announcing itself. I didn't go inside. I stood on the pavement and let the sound pin me there. The groove is simple enough to draw in the air with your finger, but there's air inside it. Charlie's hi-hat whisper, the bass nudging forward, the guitars not just stacked, but conversing. When Mick hit, "You make a grown man cry," the line wasn't a complaint. It was a brag about how alive a body can feel with the right voltage running through it. The song doesn't sprint. It stalks. It trusts the riff the way a boxer trusts a jab. Repeatable, undeniable, setting up everything else. People love to argue about when rock ended, as if music has an expiration date stamped on the shrink wrap. In 1981, the Stones didn't wave a flag or deliver a thesis. They just played something so confoundingly right that the conversation felt silly. A delivery van honked, someone shouted, the city kept being the city. But the riff carved a lane in the noise and rolled like it owned the block. It still does. When it finally faded, I realized I was grinning at a store window like a fool. That's what the gold standard sounds like. You forget yourself for a second and remember why you fell in love with this noise in the first place. The journey doesn't end here, rock warrior. Watch this next.